This is Jason Warfel with the Indiana Baseball Academy. I want to talk to you about hitting down on the ball, stay on top of the ball, hit the top lace. These are all things I hear amateur hitting coaches say all the time. And I want to make sure that it's not misconstrued by amateur hitters because I see a lot of hitters come in that don't understand what that means. And the biggest problem is, as you see on our hitter in the academy on the left, is that a lot of coaches set the ball in the tee and they tell a player to swing down on it, to hit the top half of the ball. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create a steep downward angle that's going to turn into more of a drop serve like in tennis than really a baseball swing with the ability to drive a pitch. So that by the time that you get to extension, now you're driving the ball towards the ground, or if you're late early at all, you're going to hit the ball with a lot of English, so much backspin that it's not a backspin as a result from driving the pitch. It's backspin almost like you're hitting a fungo to the infielders during pregame warm-ups. And you're not going to be in the hitting zone for very long. It's going to be hard to drive pitches. There's just a lot of issues with that. The biggest issue that I have in telling a kid to hit down on this ball, or especially when they say take your hands to the ball, take your knob to the ball, again, these are all things that are technically correct, but the problem with telling a student to do this while they're hitting off the tee is the biggest issue for me. Because if you're talking about taking your hands to the ball, but you're waiting for the ball to get to this point in its path to actually swing at it, that ball's going to be by you before you even get to the hitting zone. If you're waiting till then to swing, you're in big trouble. You got to start to swing while that ball is in its path towards the plate, about halfway to the plate. Now if we're talking about taking our hands or knob to the ball, it's keeping us through the zone a lot longer. We're getting our hands making forward progress towards the baseball. And I'm going to show you what I mean with Manny Ramirez over here on the right side of your screen. I'm going to move this off so we can see Manny a little better. Again, this is the Right View Pro video analysis system that we have at the Baseball Academy. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to track the path of the baseball. Here it is. You can see it coming from the right side of your screen. We're going to track it at the catcher's mitt. As you can see, the ball has a downward path. The pitcher is on a 10-inch mound. And most mounds aren't regulation. They're usually higher than that even. Some amateur mounds are lower, I know, but for the most part, they're releasing the ball from high over their head, on top of a mound. The catcher squatting behind you is coming on a downward plane. So if we're talking about swinging on a downward plane, we're talking about not giving ourselves very long to hit the ball. Almost like two cars coming through an intersection. They might hit, but even if they do, it's got to be at the perfect timing. And also, even if they do hit, they're just going to kind of sideswipe. It's not a great analogy, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do here is we're going to track Manny's bat path from bat lag all the way through contact. So you can see here on the right how long Manny's bat stays through the hitting zone. This means he can be early, he can be on time, or he can be late, and he's still going to hit the ball hard. And he's also going to be able to drive the pitch for a lot better. Now, there's a lot of ways that he does this, but the number one thing, the reason I made this video, tip of the day, that we want to focus on here is that, again, we all know where the hitting zone is, from the knees to the shoulders. We know that your hands are going to start around your shoulders, from the knees to the letters. Your hands are going to start around your shoulders, so they have to come down. They have to come down to hit the ball. Okay, I understand why amateur coaches say swing down on the ball, hit the top half, because most of the time a lot of kids are going to swing and miss underneath the ball. I understand that. But if we follow all the way in until we get to contact and we see where our hands are, it's easy to see that Manny's hands have come forward about 3 times as much as they have come down. That is why telling students to take your hands forward to the ball as opposed to chopping down on the ball is more effective. If you're worried about the forward motion and making progress towards the baseball, the downward motion is going to take care of itself. Now, the one thing you have to fight is to make sure the students stay behind the baseball. They're hitting the ball out front. You don't want them to think that taking their hands toward the ball means lunging or getting on top of that front foot. But that's a completely different video. One more time, I want to show you the extension for Manny and the extension of our student over here on the right hitting off the tee. And it's very easy to see who's going to drive the ball better. Again, Jason Werfel, Indiana Baseball Academy. Now available for lessons, camps this offseason, college prep program, catching clinics, hitting league. Check it out online, IndyIBA.com.